You already know how to sabotage yourself. You just call it something else: procrastination, self-doubt, one more excuse dressed up as caution, a reason that always sounds reasonable in the moment. And quietly, more than once, you have wondered if something in you is simply built this way, and rarely stop to ask where the pattern first began. Yesterday, you ran a 24-hour experiment to test whether this system even responds to you at all. Watching for a sign, the universe was listening. Today, we go deeper into the exact pattern that quietly cancels your effort before it ever reaches the surface, a quiet test to see if anything would answer back. Modern manifestation tells you to reprogram your subconscious mind, as if that phrase alone changes anything, as if saying it were the same as understanding it. Nobody explains what the subconscious actually is, or why it keeps obeying a pattern nobody ever consciously chose, leaving you to guess at a mechanism you were never shown. The Hermeticists had already answered this 3,000 years before self-help ever borrowed the question. They called it the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, they said, and the universe itself is mental, including the quiet private mind you have always called your own, quietly rewriting everything you thought you understood about willpower. If the universe is mental, then your subconscious is not a stranger living inside you, working against you in secret. It is mind, the very same mind that holds galaxies in motion, faithfully repeating whatever pattern you have impressed upon it the most, without question. The same mind you were taught to fear, not befriend. Before this ends, you will understand exactly why you keep sabotaging the thing you want most, and why willpower alone was never going to fix it. And you will leave with the one hermetic technique that stops the pattern from repeating tonight. So tonight is the last time it catches you unnamed and unexplained. You start the plan, and 3 days later you quietly quit. You get close to the relationship you wanted, and you suddenly find a reason to pull away, again, right on schedule. It has felt like weakness. It was never weakness, and each time, some part of you chose to disappear rather than risk being disappointed. It was loyalty. Your mind was protecting an older, more familiar version of you, the one it was trained the longest to keep safe, whether that version ever actually served you or simply kept you small and unseen. So the sabotage was never really about you failing, only an old rule doing its job. Stay with me. This changes how you see every sabotage you have ever quietly blamed yourself for, and it hands you back the pen that has been writing the pattern all along. So give it your full attention. Half attention will not reset anything. Think of your subconscious as a thermostat, not a saboteur working against your best interests. A thermostat does not fight you when the room stays cold. It simply holds the temperature it was last set to, faithfully, without judgment or malice, and it keeps holding that setting for as long as it goes unexamined. By the principle of mentalism, every thought you repeat with feeling becomes an impression on that inner instrument. Repeat a fear long enough, and mind treats it as instruction, not preference, and quietly holds it as the new setting, layer after layer, until it stops feeling like a thought and starts feeling like you. This is why willpower alone rarely wins. You are trying to argue with the thermostat instead of resetting it, and the old setting was built from years of repetition, so a single day of positive thinking can never outvote it. No matter how many times you repeat the effort, the vote was already decided. Neuroscience calls this procedural memory, stored deep inside a brain structure called the basal ganglia, quietly running beneath conscious thought. It does not track what is good for you. It tracks only what you have done the most, and runs that pattern automatically every single time, which is why one conscious decision rarely undoes years of unconscious repetition. Call it the autopilot code. Your brain does not consult your goals before it acts. It runs whichever code has fired the most times, because repetition, to the basal ganglia, is the only proof of importance it has ever been able to recognize, and keeps running that code long after you decide you want something different. Return to the thermostat. It never resents the cold. It only holds what it was told, patiently, without complaint. Your subconscious has been holding an old instruction called "not safe to succeed" on repeat since long before you were ever old enough to question it, waiting patiently for someone to finally walk over and change the setting. Read that sentence again. So when a video tells you to just reprogram your subconscious, it skips the actual mechanism entirely, offering a slogan instead of a method. The whole system says this: change the repeated impression with feeling, and the thermostat resets itself because it was never against you. A method, not a mantra, is what actually moves the needle. The principle of cause and effect confirms it further, closing that loop. Nothing in your behavior is random. Every sabotaging habit is an effect caused by an earlier impression, which means a new cause, deliberately chosen and repeated, produces a new effect. So the sabotage was never a flaw in your character, only a predictable result. You carry the same creative property that first built the old pattern, because you are an individualized portion of the mind of the All, sharing its exact substance and authority. The power that impressed the old setting was always yours to begin with. It still is. Nothing about that inheritance requires anyone else's permission. So tonight, catch yourself mid-sabotage, the exact moment you quit early, or pick the fight and ask one honest question. What old image of myself is this protecting right now? Naming it in a single sentence is the first act of replacing it, and that is where the real seeing begins. We are only halfway through, and the next part is where most people quit learning, right before the mechanism becomes something they can actually use. So come into this with me now, because understanding it means nothing until you use it to reset what has been quietly running underneath you for years. Settle where you are, exactly as you are, without adjusting anything for anyone. Let your shoulders drop and let your breath slow, because mind does not respond to urgency. It responds only to a clear, undivided impression, held steadily, without straining toward it. There is nowhere else you need to be for the next few minutes. Feel the weight of your body where it rests, and underneath it, feel the quieter truth. You are not the pattern, running on autopilot. You never were. You are the mind capable of writing an entirely new one, starting now, and that mind has been waiting for you to remember it was here the whole time. This is the stillness before the reset, the quiet room where the new setting will be recorded. Every impression that follows will be held here. So let your attention gather gently, without force, and let it stay undivided for just a little longer. So if your attention drifts, return it gently, without frustration. I release the old instruction that said, "I am not safe to succeed," spoken so many times it stopped sounding like words. I release the pattern that protected me by keeping me small. It served its purpose once, and it does not serve me now, no matter how long it has been running. I no longer need the sabotage to feel familiar. Familiar was never the same thing as safe. I let the old image of myself dissolve, the same way it was built, through repetition, and I choose to stop repeating it, starting in this exact moment, on purpose. The thermostat is open to a new setting now, no longer locked, no longer defended, simply waiting. I am the one setting it, quietly, deliberately, with my full attention, and nothing about that authority was ever given to anyone else, and that responsibility never belonged to anyone else, no matter who told me otherwise. I declare a new identity, not the version of me that survives by staying small and unnoticed, but the version that was always an individualized portion of the mind of the all, whole, capable, and already worthy of everything it builds, simply true before I ever noticed it. I am not the story I kept repeating about who I am allowed to become. That story was borrowed, not written by me. I am the one telling the story, and I choose, today, deliberately, to tell a truer, steadier one, a story built from repetition, not from any evidence it was ever accurate. This identity is not a performance staged for anyone watching. It is the quiet setting I hold steadily in mind, whether anyone notices or not, because mind requires witness from no one but itself, which means I need no permission, no applause, no witnesses to hold it steadily. I release the old ceiling my subconscious once mistook for safety, the quiet belief that more money always meant more danger, more visibility, and more to eventually lose. That belief was never protection. It was only an old, unquestioned setting, a belief that cost me more opportunities than the danger it claimed to protect me from. I am not sabotaging opportunity every time I hesitate to take it. I am only protecting an outdated impression that has outlived its purpose. And today, I choose to impress a new one, calmly, deliberately, and completely without apology, because the old fear has nothing left to defend. Abundance is not a reward I have to earn through struggle and proof. It was never that transactional to begin with. It is a frequency I hold, the same way I once held lack, until it quietly became familiar, and I let it feel easy now, without justifying that ease to anyone. I release the pattern that pulled me away the moment closeness ever started to feel real, right before it could be trusted, again, on schedule. I was never protecting myself from love. I was protecting an old image that once decided closeness was not safe enough to keep. I am capable of being fully seen, without the old reflex to quietly disappear the moment it matters most. What I hold steadily in mind about my own worth, the people around me, will, over time, begin to correspond to, not because I became someone new overnight, but because I am willing to be witnessed. Correspondence is not a coincidence, it is a law, as within, so without. I changed the inner setting, deliberately and with feeling, and the outer relationship in its own time is required to match it, and I no longer force the outer match. I hold the inner setting and let correspondence do the rest. I release the habit of starting and quitting before the work can ever be judged by anyone but me. The fear was never really the task itself, it was the exposure of being seen trying, and possibly seen falling short, and I am allowed to keep going long enough to finish, not just long enough to feel safe. I am the cause of my purpose moving forward, deliberately, on purpose, not the effect of an old fear simply waiting to be triggered again. I choose the cause today, and I choose it again tomorrow, and again after that, and I no longer wait for the fear to vanish before I move forward anyway. What I build no longer needs to be kept safe from judgment before I am allowed to begin it. It only needs to be true to the mind I already am. And that truth was never waiting on anyone else's approval. And that truth was always enough, even on the days it looked unfinished to anyone watching. I am not broken. I was never broken. I was running the most repeated code I had ever been given, without ever choosing it consciously. And now I am the one repeating something new, on purpose, with my full attention, seen clearly, and finally replaced. Let this sink in. Every area you just spoke into, identity, money, relationship, and purpose, was never 4 separate acts of sabotage happening by coincidence. It was one pattern, quietly wearing 4 different names, running the exact same code beneath each one, which is exactly why fixing one area alone was never going to be enough. I hold this new setting with feeling, deliberately, because feeling is precisely what mind reads as instruction, not the bare words alone. It is the charge behind them, sustained, repeated, and felt fully, that decides what becomes the new automatic pattern. So I do not just think the setting, I feel it fully every time I repeat it. I do not need to fight the old pattern anymore. Fighting only kept it alive. I only need to outrepeat it, with the same quiet patience it once used against me, for exactly as long as it takes. And patience here is not passive, it is the most active thing I can practice. Each time I catch the sabotage, and name clearly what it was protecting, the old code weakens by exactly that much, and the new one, spoken again and held again, slowly becomes the automatic one, without needing my constant supervision, quietly, steadily, without needing to announce the progress to anyone. You were never sabotaging yourself, not once, not even on your worst day. You were protecting an old image of who you thought you had to be, an image built by repetition, not by truth, an image built by years of quiet repetition, never by truth. That image was never your identity. It only ever felt that permanent because it was repeated so often. It was only your most repeated thought, and a thought, once seen clearly and named out loud, can always be replaced, and once a thought is finally seen clearly, it loses its old quiet authority. Today, that image changes, quietly and completely, because you are the one holding the pen you always were. And your mind, the The same mind that built the old pattern is already writing the correction together with you, starting now. Say this with me. I am an individualized portion of the mind of the all, and I have always been exactly that, since before I ever had the words to say it, whether I remembered it before today or not. My subconscious is not my enemy. It was never my enemy, not for a single day. It is mine, faithfully executing whatever I have impressed upon it, again and again, with total obedience and zero resistance of its own. No resistance, no rebellion, no hidden agenda working against me. The old pattern was never my identity, and it was never permanent, no matter how long it repeated. It was only my most repeated thought, held in place by habit alone, and habit, unlike identity, can always be rewritten, held in place only by habit, and habit was always mine to rewrite. I have the same creative authority that built the old program, the very same authority, undiminished. I have that authority now, in this moment, to build the new one, deliberately, and to keep building it, every day after this one. What I now impress with clarity and feeling becomes my new automatic response, replacing the old one completely, without struggle and without force. What I impress today, calmly and on purpose, is what my mind will run tomorrow without needing to be told twice. I am not broken, I was never broken, and I release that old word completely. I am reprogramming, one repeated impression at a time, because I am and always will be an individualized portion of the mind of the all. Carry this quietly into the rest of your day, not as a performance, but as a setting you now hold. And do not just hear this, inscribe it. Type I am in the comments to anchor this cause into the physical matrix today. Share this with someone who keeps blaming themselves for a pattern they never consciously chose. And subscribe, because a new law, a new key, arrives here every single day. You are mind. You have always been mind. And mind, once it sees itself clearly, does not stay the same.